Welcome to this week's episode of the Your Practice Mastered podcast. My name is Richard James, and today we're going to discuss stop being the manager of your life inside of your law firm and start creating your life inside of your law firm. Managing your life in a law firm means that you're reactive to leads coming in, to new consults, to whether they hire or don't hire, to collections, to getting clients onboarded into the process. You're reactive to the client's whim or the third party whim, and you're reacting to everything, and you're managing all of these reactions. Fundamentally, you're reactive to whether or not you're profitable, and you're not proactively managing that. And fundamentally speaking, your life is not your own. So I'm going to talk to you today about the 7-step process that's required to actually replace yourself in the firm. Here's a 7-piece pie. It says why, recruit, onboarding, train, manage, lead, scale. So the first step is why. When you decide to hire somebody to replace yourself, you have to ask why this position. And the answer to the why has to come to how is this person going to allow the company to either save money or make money? In this case, we hired a non-attorney salesperson. They were going to handle a bunch of the intake because our lead flow was low. They were going to manage the leads and set the appointments. Then they were going to show up on the appointments and they were going to close the deals. And then after they closed the deals, they were going to collect the money and keep people on plan. That was their responsibility. As we grew, that person would take the highest skill set required, and we would offset all the other jobs to new people coming in. The why is we can create a steady set of new clients that are booking initial consultations and new clients that are retaining the firm on a regular weekly basis. That was the why. So that's how we were going to make money. The second thing we have to ask when we ask the why is the what. What is the owner who we're replacing going to do once we replace them? In the case of going from being the salesperson, they then had to go to be the sales manager. And that sales manager role was going to allow the sales team to stay on track. They were going to be able to invest more time in working the cases so that our cash flow didn't get caught up into cases we're not working. And they were going to be able to start to build out the legal team because we're bringing in more cases. We have to build out capacity. And the lawyer knew better as to what type of human we needed in the legal team at that time. So you have to be very on purpose with what you're going to do once you replace yourself. Okay. The next step is once we decide why, we need to start the recruiting process. First, we have to figure out the who. Who do we want to hire? Are they remote? Are they in office? Are they experienced in a particular area of law or a skill set? Are we looking for unskilled? Are we looking for highly skilled? Who is this person? And so we have to figure out the who. And then we have to try to create the source. What good recruiters do is they create the source. So they go out and they create content for their local community or the national community, and they start talking about who they're looking for. And they start building a community of these people that they're looking for, and they start educating them as to how to be a good salesperson, how to be a good paralegal, how to be a good attorney, how to fill in the blank, right? And what happens is they get people who are hungry for that information and would actually think about working in the legal field, create a list of these people. And then we put the opportunity out there and we fish from the pool. So this brings us to the next point, which is called onboarding. So we've recruited them. We've gone through the steps. Now we've got to onboard that person. Pre-onboarding, we have to think about getting all of their tech set up, right? All of these things have to be set up by somebody on your team, hopefully not you. Then send them an email that shows them what to expect for their week of onboarding. Because in their week of onboarding, they need to understand what are they going to do through the course of the week. They have this outboarding outline. In that outline, we're telling them exactly what their weeks look like, what their calendar is going to look like, where all the links to all the trainings are for their learning, make sure they understand where their tasks are generated from, how to use the software, make sure they understand how to communicate with the team, folding them in, getting them learning, and then hopefully getting them started in some small project right away, which leads us to this idea of training. And training is where this whole mentoring process takes place. In order to mentor, you have to make sure you have your tech identified, your templates, whether it's email templates or document templates, and then you have to make sure you have your SOPs. And so in order to make sure that you have all this set up, somebody's got to sit down and think about how they do these jobs. And then we've got to start them with one task at a time. Ultimately, we also end up identifying where they have to get trained on one-on-ones. And then they get scheduled separate teams. So they get one-on-ones with the leaders or with the manager or with their peers, so they can spend some time shadowing, not just mentoring, but actually seeing what's going on and talking to them and asking them questions about what the job is like and asking them questions of what to expect and just making sure they're getting folded into the situation so they get to know everybody on the team. And look, the larger your team, you've got 30, 40, 50, 100 people, this is harder to do. You can't have them meet with everybody, but they can meet with strategic people on their team, in their department, managers and leaders, where they get some one-on-one time with them. This testing really is built into the mentoring process so that whoever is mentoring them feels comfortable that they know how to do the job. Hey, listen, if you want more information about how to start creating your law firm and building this out, or you want to grab some free templates, you can visit us at thelawfirmsecret.com. We'll have some free templates out there for you, some things in the recruiting and the onboarding world, some things in the training world, and mechanisms on how you can go about mentoring and some of these ideas, some things that outline the difference between leaders and managers. We'll be able to give you some tools you can use, or if you want to schedule some time with us, you certainly can. So now they're trained, and now we have to manage them. What is the difference between leading and managing? There is a Venn diagram where this kind of swaps over. Where that crosses over is in delegation and communication. So a leader, they set the vision, they inspire, and they remove constraints for the manager. There is a difference between a leader and a manager. And so in the flow system, we call it process owner and process leader. Now, manage. What does manage do? They are on the same page as a leader and they execute the vision. They inspect that the vision is being done. They mentor either new hires for training or existing hires on one-on-ones to help them improve. And then, of course, they delegate and they communicate. So managers manage. Leaders lead. Finally, stage 7, you have to scale. Now that you've replaced yourself in every job, you start replacing your replacements. So what happens is once you replace yourself, you then replace yourself again, you replace your replacements, and you duplicate. And the way you do that is by starting all over again with why. You make sure the new job is going to make the company money or save the company money, and you're going to make sure that you understand what they're going to do after somebody's been replaced, why we need to actually add duplications. You want to stop managing your law firm and you want to start creating your law firm. And the way you create your law firm is through people, because your manufacturing plant is run by people. If you take this information and you start to apply it, what's going to happen is you're going to start creating your law firm rather than managing your law firm, because now you have people running your systems and systems running your law firm. Let's go create your law firm one placement system at a time.